ahead and hit that like button. Subscribe to the channel if you already haven't. What's up, Miss Bugs? What's up, Benita? What's up, Priscilla? What's up, Cheryl? What's up, Crystal? Hello, everybody. Come in the room. Grandma Joy. I see y'all. Thank y'all for being here. All right. So what it said, this is Sierra, the youngest. She said, I'm sorry, but TLC and Deon Derrico needs to stop telling these lies. I try to not say anything or press the issue, but I can't keep waking up and seeing my father used on the internet as some type of flag for Deon. My father passed away 1/27/2020. After my father passes, Gigi and Deon embarrassed us at our father's viewing because Gigi was mad at my oldest brother over $5 worth of nickels that was taken when my brother was a kid. Now, Gigi and Deon said that he was 19, and we'll get into that later. I had to go to my father's funeral by myself. They didn't give me nothing, no obituary, anything. Fast forward, I see them on Instagram and Facebook saying all these lies about my father as if they really loved him. No, they treated my father like ish. And she said the S word, but I'm saying ish. Deon and Gigi was looking for a storyline in it right there. That's the way she put it, you guys. Crystal the Ball even got into it because Deon and his family are fakes. So she said Crystal the Ball. She meant without a crystal ball, Katie Joy. You guys might not be familiar with that YouTuber, but there's a YouTuber named Without a Crystal Ball. And she was actually sent a cease and desist and was going to get sued because she did an interview with the kid's mother. Whole controversy right there. And we're going to get into that later. She said with Deon and his family are fakes. Yes, Gigi is my grandmother. I'm the first granddaughter that nobody knows about because Deon told my brother he couldn't let the world know who he really was because he went to prison. I have videos, pictures, and more with my blood grandma, my blood uncle, pictures, and proof. Write that. I'm asking for his fans to stop posting my father's pictures. Okay, and the reason why I posted the picture, I just want to clarify because she said don't, to show you that these kids, they look like their father. And the reason why I'm bringing this up is because Gigi and Deon literally say we don't know if those are our relatives. We don't know if that's my nieces and nephews because they don't act like us. They act different. They act like their mother. They're literally going in on their nieces and nephews. And you know how I feel about this. When family comes to the internet and try to expose you, you already know my history with this. So you know how I feel. So here are the pictures. So the first one, remember I told you guys a long time that Deon had an adopted son that he doesn't talk to, he has no communication with? This is in their history to disown their family. The first picture on the left, it says Deon Derrico with nephews Christopher, Kawan, and adopted son Darren. Then on the right, you see Gigi with Christopher Turner's 3 kids with Felicia Walker. Felicia Walker is the mama, the one that they call crazy and stuff like that, and she got issues. That's Gigi right there. And so mind you, in this video that I'm going to play you guys, they're going to talk about how they don't know who these, who they really are, and they don't act like, the Turners and stuff like that. That's their last name. They don't act like the Turners and all this other stuff. Gigi even slut shames the mama. Ain't that crazy, y'all? Let's go ahead and take a listen to it. Yeah, Couture Babe, it's ghetto. It's very ghetto. And this family's supposed to be like the Huxtables. I'm sorry. Oh, well, that's probably not a good comparison anyway. But let's go ahead and get into it, you guys.
So some of you don't know. Some of you, or maybe some of you do know, says, Gigi, you look stunning. That
Thank you.
My brother Chris.
Uh-oh. Ay, ay, ay.
Like they were our family. But unfortunately, due to, I would say, illness from their mother's side, we all know that my brother had, we put together over the years that she had an issue. And after she requested that we basically leave her and her children alone, that's when I gave them back. So I took care
All right,
of
you
her
guys,
two
hold
children,
on.
my nephews, and I took care of them for 8 years while my brother was unfortunately in and out of jail and going.
Okay, we're not doing none of that choppy stuff. Hold on. I don't like that. I'm just going to play it from my phone. Hopefully you guys don't mind. Because you guys might not have seen this live, and I at least want to play stop, and so you guys know what I'm talking about and at least can reference. Do. All right, here we go.
Supposedly, niece and nephew's mother, some years later, they got together supposedly and had children because it was speculated back then.
Put on one if you can
that
hear.
they weren't my brother's children.
And let me say this, I'm sorry, but I got to jump in. I've always taught my boys that if you meet a woman and she's ready to let you bed her the first night, watch out for her. Because if she'll allow you to bed her the first night, she'll allow anybody. Well, Chris told me that he bedded her the first night. And I asked him when she supposedly got pregnant for him if he thought the baby was his. He said he wasn't sure. Both of my boys loving babies and kids so much. When the baby got here, I mean, he's so gung-ho. Yes, man. Yes, man. He was ready to claim anything that looked like or act like it might have been his. So we don't know. Like he said, stated from the beginning, the only one that we're really sure of is Amani. He's the only one that had a DNA. So, yeah, continue.
So the kids that they're talking about, the nieces and nephews, they're in their 20s and 30s. 30s, and I think the oldest one is early 40s. And so going back to what Gigi, she said, anybody that will let you bed them the first night, blah, blah, blah. But what about your son? Your son betted, she betted your son if we're going to do vice versa. So what does that mean, Gigi? Are you saying that, oh, well, if she lets you sleep with her the first night, that means she's no good? Because you were a single mother. So do we really want to play that game about, letting somebody bed you? And what we doing, Gigi? What we doing, Renee? Shout out to Tenneke. She be like, what we doing, Renee?
That her mental issue primarily was in the realm of telling lies. I mean, she literally has always been an habitual liar.
Habitual.
And what type of adult will talk about a child's mother to the child? It takes a real off person, I think, to do that. So
we never did.
We never talked to my supposedly nephews at that time when they were children about their mother. And it became more and more difficult for us, Gigi and I, to deal with her while dealing, of course, with my nephews at that time, with my alleged nephews at that time. So it wasn't until I saw she was a big liar talking about other people. Like she had a girlfriend once that the girlfriend she thought liked my brother, and out of anger at the girlfriend, I don't know whether the girlfriend liked my brother or not, but out of anger at the girlfriend supposedly liking my brother, she called CPS on her best friend. And it was, the girl went through some drama. I think she got cleared of it, but she still went through some drama with it. And then later she called, back in Detroit, back in the day, if you suspected someone for having heavy drug traffic, you could just call 911 and they would raid that person's house. So everyone back then was really, anyone who had an enemy, your way of getting at your enemy was to call 911 and say you suspect high drug activity. And SWAT would just go to the house and raid the house. And she did that to another young lady friend of hers. And I'm like, wait a minute, it started clicking. Like, if she's doing this to these people, when is she going to make up a lie, an egregious lie about me?
Us.
Well, or us, yeah. So we didn't know that in time she would tell my brother, because she was always trying to separate my brother from us. And it worked. You know, he had mental illness, and he allowed that penetration from her into his mind. And so she told him that I tried to make a pass on her several times. That absolutely, when I tell y'all, that never happened. But how could I convince my brother of this? So these were issues that then she made up a lie and said that Gigi, we never had a good relationship with her. She made up a lie and said that Gigi confided in her to my brother that I wasn't my mother's son because my complexion. I'm darker complected versus Gigi and Chris. She just made this up. And of course, Chris, you know, he came and told me. You can only imagine the drama that created, because within the Black community, we already have the colorism issues. Anyway, so it was just, but once we sat down and really put together how poisoned she was, you know, what could we do for that? We couldn't talk about or educate my nephews. I couldn't tell them all the many issues that I was having with their mother. Now, here's the kicker. They're adults now, and they see for themselves. But she's still their mother.
Right.
She's still their mother, and it's very hard for children.
I'm going to stop right there. I mean, we're going to continue, but I want to stop right there and give commentary. All right. So a few things about that. One, you can't convince nobody that their mother ain't. You can't. No matter if the mama is bad. And I want to say something. Unpopular opinion. I do believe the mama got issues. I do believe. Because this is the same mother that reached out to Without a Crystal Ball to try to expose the family, initially. So I do believe in some of the stuff that they're saying. I'm not going to say they're far-fetched or they're lying on the mom. There definitely some dysfunction. But knowing that you guys already have an issue with her and there was some past trauma, some past issues, yeah, that let us know that you're going to be biased. And so because you don't like the mama, y'all don't like the kids either. I'm going to say that too. I've seen something and I agree with it because I know this myself, y'all. It was like a meme or something that said, the family that don't like your mama, just know they don't like you either. Ooh! Ooh! Y'all, that hit me deep. I seen that like a year ago. A year ago when I was going through my stuff, I seen that. That family that don't like your mama, just know they don't like you either. So them slut shaming the mama, saying that, you know, putting doubt that might not be your baby. How do you know? Blah, blah, blah. Mind you, he done impregnated her 3 times. Like, you know, after 3 babies, yeah, it gotta be your grandbabies. You know what I mean? After 3 of them, if you had any doubt, you should have told your son to stop in her. If we're gonna be honest. So yeah, there's a lot of seeds of doubt in here, like, oh, well, they might be, we don't really know because Gigi has to get the blood test, talking about the mama. Well, y'all were quick to get it done with Amani. Y'all had 20-something years to get it done with these kids. Like, why didn't y'all get a blood test so this can be over with? That's my best advice. Let's continue. Make sure you guys like this video, please. Show me that you guys actually like it. Thank you.
To see past the flaws of their parents, no matter how bad the flaws are. Typically, you know, and oftentimes children that are in CPS, when they're taken away from their parents, the parents have been burning them and doing everything under the sun, burning them and putting an iron to their skin, and that child will still side with their parent. So it's really common for that behavior. And I decided after 8 years of battling, and I mean, y'all, when I say battling, 8 years of battling with their mother, I just decided I've had enough.
But that was after she told us that we couldn't see them no more.
Right. But I still had them, though. She said we couldn't see them, but they were still in my possession. I still had them.
When she said what I'm talking about, when she told me to take care of my 2 kids after you go have your own.
Yeah.
It wasn't in your possession yet.
They were. So let me back up. I had, which was called, it wasn't I didn't have legal custody. She basically signed a notarized letter stating that I could take her children because she was struggling in and out of houses. Chris was in jail. She needed help. And her 2 boys came and lived with me.
And what pissed her off was when they had something at the school, remember? And she went to the school and said she wanted information. And she told them that she was their mother. Mm-hmm. And they didn't believe her because they only knew of you. Yeah. And that pissed her off. And that's when the real issue started.
So I'm going to stop that right there because you notice how they're talking about the mom and stuff like that, right? But they've been open about Chris, the brother. They've been open about Chris having manic depression, bipolar. He's been in and out of jail. He had issues and stuff with being in and out of jail. So the woman that he chose, Felicia, was in and out of jail as well too. So birds of a feather flock together. Like the way that they're acting is that their son was perfect. And then how could he be with a woman like that? And we don't know if that, well, your son was out running the streets too. God rest his soul, but we got to be honest, y'all. He was out running the streets too. It wasn't like this woman couldn't bag him or couldn't get him or anything like that. They was one of the same. Am I lying? Somebody tell me I'm lying. Am I telling the truth or am I lying, y'all? Put it in the chat.
And it was, you threw my...
I'm sorry.
She threw me for 1 second.
I'm sorry.
So,
I have to say it while I think about it. It may go away and not come back.
So, oh God, what was I trying to say? At the point that she mentioned about me, I didn't have any children, of course, but she mentioned for me to go have my own children and for Gigi to take care of her own too, which was me and Chris.
Right.
At the point that happened, I just had enough. I mean, I kissed her butt. Wait 1 second, Mom.
To stay out of her kid's life. That's what she said.
Yeah.
Stay out of my kid's life. When they tell you that, how do you argue with the person that's telling you to stay away from their kids? It's only one thing to do. Stay away from their kids. There's no such thing as grandmother rights or grandparent rights. Some people think there is. There isn't. There's no such thing as grandparent rights. So I had no rights. I couldn't go to the court and say, hey, let me see my grandchildren. She said for us to stay away. That's what we did. After staying away, she started implementing all this poison in their head. What would they believe? Their mother. Natural.
So I'm going to address the $5 worth of nickels. Give me a second.
So before he addresses the whole one of the sons stealing the money, I wanted to point this out. Chris didn't pass away until 2020. So it's all like, what was that relationship with Chris and his kids? Now, later on in this video, they claim basically the kids hated Chris and they wanted nothing to do with him. And I have an opinion about that. But there's some holes missing in the story.
I'll get there. I just saw someone put that down there. So the issues that we had been having, I finally decided I'm done. No worries. I'm going to give you your children back. She didn't even ask for them back like that. She was getting welfare for them. She gave me nothing. She lied to me and told me that she was not receiving welfare. At the time, I was a hairdresser, and one of my customers worked for social services. And they were able to tap in and confirm she was, in fact, getting welfare. I had them Monday through Friday. She only went back for her on the weekends, on the holidays, and over the summer. And I never, ever claimed them on my taxes, and I never got a dime of food stamps. So I took care of them totally and solely out of my pocket in hopes of one day they would live productive lives, and I wouldn't have my ass on here talking about this shit. So the next thing is we didn't talk. I sent them back. We didn't talk. Almost 20 years passed up until their father died, which was in 2020. That's when Gigi took it upon herself to reach out to Chris's oldest son, supposedly his oldest son, he has his name, and to tell him, hey, you know, your father passed, I want to give my condolences, and how do you want to handle this? Because they were the next of kin. It wasn't Gigi and I. They were the next of kin. My brother wasn't married, so it would go to his next, adult child. They didn't respond to Gigi's phone call because years prior to that, the oldest son had stolen $20, not $5, $20 from my grandmother, which is Gigi's mother. I purchased a house 5 houses down from my grandmother, and my grandmother often assisted me in watching my nephews and cooking for my nephews, and they had a very close relationship to their great-grandmother, my grandmother. And my grandmother was sweet as pie. I mean, I tell Day all the time that my grandmother's better than her grandmother. But my grandmother was much like Gigi. So everyone loved her. She would give you the shirt off her back. We were so angered that my 19-year-old adult nephew would go to my grandmother's house, tell her he was hungry. She gets up, goes in the kitchen to cook a meal for him. While she was cooking that meal, he dips back to her bedroom. Wait, Mom. He dips back to her bedroom and takes these $20 worth of nickels. It wasn't the nickels as much as it was the principle that he would do such a thing to a woman that directly was responsible for caring for him. My grandmother was my next caregiver when I was absent, when I couldn't, watch them because I was working. And so when I find out about it, I was living here in Vegas. When I go back to Detroit, we see the oldest nephew who stole from my grandmother. We see him over to his father's house at the time and confronted him. He first lied and said he didn't do it. We knew it was a lie. Then he admitted it and apologized. And I told him, well, I'm going back to Detroit, but you better apologize to Mama. First chance you get. He didn't do it. He told me, okay, he didn't do it. Some time passed. Gigi has words with him about the fact that he didn't do it. He gets so angry, he don't speak to Gigi no more. Now, keep in mind, that was about 10 years, 11 years or so prior to Chris, my brother, dying. So in our minds, although we're not talking to him and he don't talk to us, we're good. They don't call me, I don't call them. No love lost. When Chris passed, Gigi still hurt over the passing of her son, and she also wanted a special connection with the next best thing to her son, which in her mind would possibly be his children, right? That it's alleged that they're his children. So when Gigi reaches out to basically let bygones be bygones, and hey, your father just passed, we had death in the family, all that other bull crap is to the side. It was then that his son told a mutual friend of ours that he's okay with talking to me, but he don't want to talk to my mother. You don't get a chance to talk to me if your ass ain't talking to my mother. And so because of, and I'm knowing the way my...
So I want to go ahead and give commentary right there. So there's a text message that Gigi sent to her granddaughter. It says, "Good morning, granddaughter. I pray all is well with you and the family. I just wanted to remind you that if you don't hear from me every day /week/month, it has nothing to do with my love for you. And whether I told you or not, I am so sorry for what happened at your dad's homegoing. Honestly, I felt bad for you most of all. As I start to get my health better intact, I hope I'll be able to do a few things to make make up for some of the lost years. Up to you. Love you lots, Granny." So basically, they did not let the sons be involved for the homegoing /funeral. They didn't want the sons there, but they invited her because at the time when they had a relationship with with the kids was when she was very young. So she doesn't really know anything, and she wasn't, able to really remember everything that happened, right? So, and they had a strained relationship, obviously. So Gigi's reaching out to her and was like, "Oh, sorry about, your father's homegoing." She's apologizing because the brothers weren't allowed to be there. And remember what Sierra said was, "I had to go alone. I had to go by myself. I didn't even get an obituary. I didn't get anything. I had to go by myself." Mind you, she doesn't really know these people. She doesn't know them. Now, I want to talk about the whole stealing because, we don't condone stealing over here. We don't like thieves. We don't like robbers. We don't like none of that, right? He was 19, so he was old enough to know. When you're 18, you're an adult. You are old enough to know. However, I would love to know what the grandmother, Gigi's mom, I would love to know what she felt about the situation and if she would want to shun the family and keep them away. Would she be okay with that, like not having a relationship? What did Chris say about the whole situation, talking about the brother? Also, the dad of all the children. What did he say about it? Like, did he try to press the issue? Like, did he try to, heal the family and stuff like that? Again, there's a lot of gaps missing in this story, and it's just making it seem like these kids are just the worst people in the world. and no accountability for. I mean, if you want to be mad at somebody, you got to be mad at both of the parents, your brother and the mom. If anything, you can't just be mad at the kids because basically, if their parents were in and out of jail, what kind of situation do you feel like they were in? Do you think they were in the best situation, the best scenario? You said you gave the kids back, and the only reason why you would take them if the situation they were in was shitty. Let's call it what it is. You know what I mean? All right, let's go ahead and continue. Again, I don't condone stealing, but I think you can let some stuff go.
Mother had been to them, but you're not speaking to my mother, and I know why. So when that happened, I told Gigi, she told me later that night that she was trying to call his son again because she felt she had a bad connection earlier on the phone. And it was then, it was then that I told her, no, Ma, I just found out from a mutual friend that he intentionally he hung up on you. So now we know he's keeping that same energy from years ago. So let's leave it alone. So when we get to the viewing the night before, I must admit my mother was wrong.
I was not wrong.
Well, you was wrong because of that. That's not the time and place. No, but listen, I understand emotionally. I understand emotionally.
Nobody has ever. You have never lost a child.
Right.
I lost
the child.
I'm not apologetic for not one thing that I said. I see this boy sitting up laughing and talking with my brother, and I'm thinking about how he done did my mother, and then how he turned around, and now he's doing to me. No, you're not going to do that. I'm not in that mind space.
No, Ma, I understand that. I understand.
Yes, I went off.
Yeah.
Yes, I said every and anything I thought I wanted to say.
Yeah, you did.
You asked me if I felt better. Yes, I felt better because there's so many stages of death that you experience when you lose somebody. I experienced anger. I experienced hurt. I experienced guilt. I experienced lack of protection for him. I experienced so many things. One thing that I experienced, and I was able to kind of get rid of that was anger. Because at the end of my son's life, none of them three acted like, he literally, and he told me this, he literally kissed their ass for them to even talk to him.
Yeah, he did.
So do I feel good when looking up and seeing their face? Shit, no.
Yeah.
I don't think nobody should be there but the people that love him. I know I love him. And as far as I'm concerned, the last words he spoke to me, they didn't love him.
Exactly.
So do I want somebody there that don't love him? I don't give a shit who it is. I don't want nobody there that don't love him.
Yeah.
So when that went on, when that went down, when I acted like that, no, I'm not apologetic for a damn word I said. Not one.
Well, when I say she was wrong.
All right. So I want to say this. Again, I don't have any children, full transparency, but I can't imagine losing children, right? So Gigi being emotional and being angry, she has every right to. I can't take that away from her. But the fact that you're saying that, oh, they didn't love him and blah, blah, blah. Well, if you're saying that he was in and out of jail and stuff like that, he had mental health issues, like the relationship is going to be strained. Because was Chris, their dad, in their life? Was he in their life? And I don't want to even just say in their life. Was he like a productive father? Was he an actual father figure? Or was he just the man that signed the birth certificate? That's two different things, right? That's two different things. And granted, maybe they didn't have the best relationship with their father, but more than likely, it probably hit them. I know it has to hit them now. That now that their dad is gone, it's like, damn, I should have had, try to work things out, and they probably have regret. But yeah. Yeah, I told y'all, this is heavy.
I do feel like, just like right now, I hate having to take to social media. This is not social media's business, respectfully.
No, it's not.
But because they took this shit to social media, and we are public figures, and they want money, they want fame, they want a platform, now I have to stoop down to that level and address it, because we have many of you that understand us, that love us, that support us, but you're confused. And so we owe it to you. I'm only doing this for the fans. I'm not doing this for no one else. But I need to make sure that the record is clear. My mother done a damn good job raising me. And it's a poor dog that can't bark up his own damn tree. My mother done a very good job raising me. And she done a very good job teaching me morals and values and respect. And all the things that you guys see in our children are things that my mother instilled in me. And it was things that I was trying to instill in my nephews. I knew what I was working against. I knew the poison that I was working against. And unfortunately, I wasn't able to give the type of medicine that was required, the mental medicine that was required to stop the poison that their mother was giving them. Their mother poisoned them about us. Their mother poisoned them about their father. And you see it right now. I mean, so the issue now is they want to be a part of something, but you wasn't a part of it for the last 20 years, and it didn't bother you. You were okay. We didn't speak at my brother's funeral. When they talk about we don't have the right to talk about their father, I have every right. This is her son, my brother, who was there before we even knew y'all existed. Wait, let me finish this. My apologies. So when they say that, it pisses me off. But my next thing is, where were you when there was the funeral? Yeah. Because y'all were the next of kin. They were the next of kin. So that means that funeral was their responsibility. No one stepped up to bury my brother. No one stepped up to offer flowers. No one asked or told us how they wanted the funeral to go, because technically it was their responsibility. They were supposed to find the funeral home. They were supposed to write the obituary. They were the next of kin. Why did it fall on Gigi and I? It fell on who it's always been on. Period. It's all. Whenever my brother got sick and got called to the hospital, it was my mother and I that was there. Whenever my brother would get bipolar and things would happen at their house when he had those young children, it was my mother and I that went there to make sure CPS didn't get them. That's how I got them. So to now have all these lies told and poison, and it's just Gigi. My supposedly niece reached out to me a year ago, and I told her, anything you want to say to me, you can say it, as long as you're respectful. You can address anything, you can ask me anything, and we spoke. We had a very good conversation. I even told her on many areas that she was a casualty of war. Yeah. Because unfortunately, at the point that the real drama happened with us and their mother, she was a baby. Yeah. So unfortunately, she never got a chance to experience the love that we had for her.
Okay, so they're talking about the girl, Sierra. However, I feel that the other ones was a casualty of war too. Like, I don't feel that she is the only one. I feel like the other two are because of who their parents were. When are we going to put it back on the parents and not blame? It's like they're blaming the mom, absolving any responsibility from the dad, their brother, right? So this is very biased. On top of that, they're mad at the children and taking it out on the children.
She only can see and hear through pictures of the other, her brothers. She can only see and hear through those pictures that the love that we had, because we believe in your birthdays and Christmas and Halloween. Her mother was a Jehovah's Witness. She didn't believe in that. She didn't want us doing it. But I'm like, listen, when they with us, we're doing it. I think at some point the mother may have started doing it. But the biggest thing is when Sierra, the niece, daughter, when she saw these issues, versus her understanding that the issues came from her own mother, that it's her mother's fault that we're not a family. It's not our fault. I mean, why would my mother love my 14 children and not love Chris's children? Yeah. Why would my mother love my 14 children or take Amani in after 24 years of being absent and just love him with open arms? Why would my mother take Eric in? Eric is now our family. Why would she take him in and not take the children that my brother announced were his children? We were at the births of all three of them. My mother and I were at all three births. But
so they were at all three births, but they still have doubt that these are his children. That's crazy to me, y'all. You have doubt that these are the children, but you were at all three of the births. And like, y'all know who they are. Like, y'all know these children. Like, they're not just random. Like, they're not claiming this to be their dad. This was somebody that was in their life.
That's what they're expressing. And I tried to talk to them. I got a barrage of text messages that outlines all of this. But I'm saying, like, what's the issue? Their main issue is we had Amani on a TV show. that we paid Amani, that Amani had a GoFundMe account. That Amani had a GoFundMe account set up by us.
Was very needed.
Which was needed.
Very much needed.
They had gotten, not my niece, but my two nephews, they had gotten all kind of money and time from me. They got things from me that Amani could never get, that Amani will never get now. And my youngest nephew, which is, he's older than Amani, but younger than the older nephew, he trusted to contact me while Amani was on his deathbed. I was sitting beside Amani, literally holding his hand. And my nephew texts and says to me, how long are you here in Detroit for? I say, man, I don't really know. You know, I'm here for Amani right now. I don't really know. He says, well, I was hoping maybe we could get together and, you know, we could hang out. And I says, you know, I don't know about it this time because I'm devoting this to Amani. I'm hoping that Amani will still stay alive. And this sucker calls, he texts me back and says, wow, you can give all of this to a boy who you don't even know is yours? I say, well, shit, technically, he's the one I know is mine. I mean, and the thing about it is, it's y'all that's done the shit that I have to question. Are you really my DNA? Because it just feels like on some level, if you were my DNA, we wouldn't be having this kind of conversation because you know me.
But then the thing about it, his mama at birth, she put Turner, which is Chris' last name, she put Turner on the boy's birth certificate. And then when she had the girl, she put Walker, which is her last name.
And we asked her, why would you do that? Why would you not name all the children for the same last name, especially considering they're supposed to be from the same man? It made no sense at all, but you couldn't talk sense into her. And so we got into it about that. My niece don't even know that. My niece don't even know. So then my niece contacts Amani. So let's back up. There's so much to this.
Okay, I want to stop right there. So Sierra's last name is Walker. It's on her Facebook. It is Walker. But as I understand, there's another document, and we're going to get into this a little bit later. There's a document here where she has Walker, but also she mentions the name Turner as well, too. So we'll get into that a little bit later, but let me go ahead and continue.
Respect and thanks to Stacy and Amani's other family.
Yeah.
That's another reason why I didn't want to do this, because right now Amani is passed. We are all still grieving.
Yes.
They not once reached out to Stacy to give their condolences. They have not once reached out to the family and gave their condolences over the loss of Amani. They started out calling him their brother because I told them, this is your brother. He's your father's son if y'all are really y'all father's children. And they started out accepting that. Amani took it upon himself to go and meet with them, unbeknownst to me, because I told Amani, they wasn't raised like you were raised. They haven't had the love instilled in them like you've had. So they're going to deal with you differently. And I'm not necessarily saying that they would have hurt him, but I don't know, because I know how poisonous their mother was. Yeah. I know the kind of issues that their mother, is. I know the kind of issues that their mother was about, and I know how she could lie and make up things. I didn't want Amani to get himself thrown into that and get hurt some kind of way. So I said, so let me sort of check things out. Let me make the connection between you and them. Well, he asked me, can you send me pictures of them? Well, I didn't have recent pictures. I had to go by my brother's, Chris, his Facebook page. And I went through his Facebook and some kind of way found pictures of the three of them. And I sent those pictures to Amani. When Amani saw them, he instantly recognized my niece. He knew her. He had played basketball with her. He says, oh, wow, I know her, Unc. I said, do you? I said, I played basketball with her, Unc. I said, do you? I said, okay, cool. I said, well, just give me a minute. Let me figure out how I want to introduce it to y'all, because I don't want no drama. He says, okay. He was excited. He goes behind my back. I don't want to say behind my back, but he did. He didn't tell me that he was reaching out to them anyway. He reaches out to the sister. He meets the sister and the youngest brother. He meets them. The day that he meet them, they accused him, Amani, of having stolen $500. I don't know if my youngest nephew ever had $500 in his hand at one time in his life. He accused them, and I believe that was done as a way to get me to pay the $500 for Amani. That's what I believe. So I called Amani, like, what's going on? They saying you stole money. Did you meet them? Amani was like, yeah, because I didn't know. He said, yeah, my apologies, Unc. Now I see what you're talking about. Now I see how they live it. He said the mother was drunk. Kawan was drunk.
Ooh.
He said they were belligerent. They were cussing. They were just talking all this crap. They were talking about my father. This is what Amani told me. He said they were talking about my father, disrespecting my father. He says, and I told him, like, listen, my father's deceased. Can we keep this about us? He says, I was trying to really have a good time. He says, and when I left, I thought everything was good. It wasn't until the next day. And I said, well, man, I'm pretty sure you've never done that, because I know the upbringing that they had from their mother. I says, and unfortunately, that's what I was telling you. You cannot trust it. I says, I'm a family person. I believe in bringing family together. You see that echoed throughout our television show. But I'm also a Detroiter. And I spot bullshit real fast. And I don't want to be in the midst of it. And so I told him this. And he said, well, Uncle, I apologize. So after that, my nephew, the youngest nephew who accused Amani of stealing from him, he then calls me back and says to me, yeah, my bad. He didn't steal no money from me. It was all on me. And my bad. I'm going to tell little bro that. That's what he tells me. And I say, well, Kawan, I don't know how he's going to be behind this. I say, because it's really a lot when someone accuses you of something that you didn't do, especially stealing some money. He says, yeah, I get it, but I'm going to apologize to him. And he did. He apologized to Amani. But at that point, Amani was like, yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know how I feel about this. I say, well, listen, man, don't forget what I told you. I said, if you decide to meet up with them again, you need to do it with a neutral party, someone that can have it documented, someone that could video it. I said, and I'm telling you what I know. I would never spit venom on anyone. These are things I've never said prior to now. No one can have it documented nowhere what I've ever said about their mother to anyone until right now. That says a lot. And I'm only doing this right now because I've been pulled into it. So I tell Amani that. He says, okay, Unc, I'm going to keep my distance. And if I decide to go around them, I'll make it a point to do it when either you're available or someone else. I say, cool, perfect. Him and Sierra starts talking some kind of way in the midst of the conversation. Sierra threatens Amani and threatens to have her brothers whoop his ass, was what she said to him. And that's what Amani told me. He says, Unc, I have to leave them alone forever. He says, I can never fool with them. He says, I got a license to carry a gun. He says, I have this liver. He says, I cannot, and this is before the liver went bad. He says, I cannot have any issues where, someone jumping on me and causing, me to lose my life. And that was, of course, before we knew this was going to happen, where him losing his life wasn't because of that, whatever. But so when he said that, I says, man, I understand you got to do what's best for you. I talked back to my niece and nephew and try to explain to them, listen, y'all accuse this boy of something that y'all knew he didn't do. You just don't heal from that like that. Neither one of them understood. They felt like, he need to get over it. It ain't no big deal. We found out it wasn't him. But you accused him after y'all just met him. He was looking at y'all like his savior. Y'all, his big siblings, he's so ready to meet y'all. And it's so unfortunate, y'all, because when I tell y'all Amani was a good heart, Amani really should have been my nephew that I helped to take care of. Yeah. Because he really exemplified everything that we stand for. So the DNA is reflected. It reflects like, wow, he really is ours. Those other ones, I really genuinely, because of their behavior, I question, are they really mine? And the only way we can ever find out is through her DNA. Ain't that something? We can only find out through her DNA. I wouldn't even probably question it if it wasn't for the barrage of issues and the attack on money. All they think that we made up. One of them said that we made up storyline. Let me be clear.
All right, so I'm going to go ahead and pause it right there. So I wanted to go ahead and get that Amani story out because basically what they're making it seem is that the kids, the other ones, were jealous of Amani, and they were all like, how come we don't have GoFundMes? How come we're not featured on the show? And it's this whole jealousy thing that Deon and Gigi are spreading. And let me say this. If that story is true, that Sierra and Kawan try to, fight him and say he stole money from them, there's a special place in hell for them. We ain't going to even play like that's okay. That's definitely not okay for them to do that and try to take advantage of somebody. And there could be, and I'm not going to say there isn't, there could be jealousy that Amani was featured on the show because the way it was set up was that this was his last son and his only seed that he had on this earth, his only offspring. Nothing was mentioned about Sierra, Chris Jr., and Kawan. Nothing was ever mentioned about them. Nothing. So when you look at the TV show, we're looking like, okay, well, this is his last son. Isn't that great? This is a beautiful story. Well, that wasn't the truth because Chris got other kids that he's been pictured with that you see. And it's just the way that can come off is like, damn, well, it's not even about not being featured on the show, but you're making it seem like Amani is his only child, and we're here. So I get why they're mad. But at the same time, I'm not saying that's right for them to try to talk about, he stole $500 and he owes us $500. $500 for what? Like, you're not going to give $500 to somebody that you just meet. On top of that, they were going to try to jump him or whatever. Yeah, that ain't right. That is not right. But then I got to say, well, damn, will we ever know the story? Because Amani's not here to even tell that story. You know, we're hearing it from Deon, third party. We're hearing it from third party. Unfortunately, we can't hear from Amani. And it's sad that now that Amani's gone, he can't have a relationship with his other siblings, you know? Sad. All right, let's go ahead and continue.
Show that's predicated on our real lives now. It's not predicated on what the hell happened 20 years ago. It's not predicated on someone who I took care of 20 years ago who didn't even invite me to the graduation when one of them graduated. It's not predicated on that. It's predicated on where we are right now. So for them to feel entitled to be on a television show when they haven't been a part of my life, it baffles me. It literally is perplexing that anyone could think such a thing. When they say keep that same damn energy, I'm just keeping the same energy. My youngest nephew, when he got out of jail in December of 2020. Our television show aired August of 2020. I had not talked to him in over 15 years because he was different. I did talk to him from time to time, but I didn't talk to him then in over 15 years. He inboxed me on Facebook. Hey, what's up, Unc? I see you on TV. And, blah, 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 and it's really good, and da-da-da, we got to keep in touch. I responded, hey, nephew, how you doing? I gave my normal response. We were good. I sent him a little money, and I told him I'm sending you this on behalf of your father. Your father had passed away. I took care of the funeral, and I want to send you a little money. After that, after I sent him that little money, every time I looked around, his ass was calling me, asking me for more money. And I did it. It wouldn't be a lot. It'd be $50 here, $100 there, but I did it. This is a grown-ass man. He's a grown man. Felt comfortable enough to come to me to ask for money because in his words, now that he's an adult and been in and out of jail, he can't find a good job. Well, that's not my damn fault. Had you stayed with me and your mother stayed out of it, you would have had a good job. You'd have been working for my company that I created. But no, they don't understand that. And so now...
Well, that's not his fault. That's not his fault. Well, if you would have stayed with me, well, you even said you had to give the kids back to the mom. That's not his fault. Like, you're literally blaming the kids for choices and things that happened that were beyond their control. How can you blame them for, quote unquote, making the wrong choices and stuff like that, and they should have stayed with you and you would have gave them a job and all this other stuff? How were they supposed to do that? Deon, what you're asking for is something that they could not do. But you're sowing these doubts and, we don't know if these are really the kids and, they don't act like us and stuff like that. But mind you, this is where Katie Joy comes into play. So Katie Joy was really exposing them and stuff like that. And there was a video that she did that she had to take down. The mom, Felicia, pretended to be Sierra and was basically airing out the Derricos, saying there was some sexual assault, abuse, and everything under the sun. And Katie ended up having to take that video down. But the thing is that they had asked the kids, like, hey, can you give a statement? And so this is the statement that the kids had gave. I'm going to go ahead and read it to you guys. Like, again, mind you, in this video, Deon and Gigi are making it seem like these kids are the worst people in the world and we ain't sure if they ours, but ask them to write a statement. You asked them to write a statement. So we're going to go ahead and read that right now when I pull it up on my phone because it's kind of tiny and really small. All right. So the first one is from Sierra Chantel Walker, the girl. Sierra Chantel Walker decree and declares the following is true and correct. And if called as a witness, I could competently testify to the matters hereinafter set forth, which are within my personal knowledge. 1, that I am personally familiar with the facts and circumstances as indicated herein, am above the age of 18, and I'm competent to adhere hereinafter set forth. During the time of the facts and circumstances of this case, I was a Michigan resident living in Wayne County. Sierra Chantel Walker asserts that I am the blood niece of Deon Derrico. Mind you, they so in doubt, like, oh, you know, we don't even know. And right here it says, I am the blood niece of Deon Derrico. To be honest, I think that growing up, my uncle and I really did not have a relationship because I was much younger than my brothers, but we have very recently kindled our relationship. 5. Although quickly I have come to learn the experience of genuineness and kind heart of my Uncle Deon. I state that any statement regarding my knowledge untowards statement regarding my uncle were never made by me. Because again, the mom pretended to be Sierra. To be clear, I was too young to have any knowledge of interactions between my uncle and my brothers. However, I can state now, being older, that my brothers have never articulated to me that my Uncle Deon abused or sexually assaulted them in any manner or any way. I believe my brothers. Now, this woman, Katie, without a crystal ball, who is the owner of social media influencers, Katie, who is the owner and social media influencer of social media page Without a Crystal Ball, was made terrible of false falsities and wrongful accusations against my Uncle Deon. The worst part of this is that she had the audacity to state that I, Sierra, supported her horrendous statements about my Uncle Deon being a pedo. Ooh. I assert and state with all seriousness and genuineness that I have never and will never state that my Uncle Deon was abusive, molester, or a pedo to any, including my brother. Most important, I requested that Katie remove her false and fake posts regarding my Uncle Deon by stating, I am asking for this to be taken down. There are false information. This is Sierra Chantel Walker. Katie then blocked me and ignored my earnest warning about the lies she was telling about my uncle. I write the declaration, okay. And now this one is from the second oldest son, Kawan Turner. Kawan Turner, here, okay, all that. Okay, that I am personally familiar with the with the facts and the circumstances indicated. Okay, hold on. Okay, okay, here we go. I, Kawan Turner, asserts that I am the blood nephew of Deon Derrico. I state that I was raised and grew up my Uncle Deon for 8 years while he lived in Detroit, Michigan. My Uncle Deon is kind, loving, and raised me for the 8 years that I lived with him. My Uncle Deon never abused or sexually assaulted me in any manner or any way since my birth to this date. That I sure, okay, so he kind of just repeats the same thing, yeah. But he's saying in his own words that I was not, this or that. Yeah. Yeah, he's basically just repeating the same thing. So they wrote this statement. The attorneys, got a statement from them. I don't know if you would call this like a character witness or not, but these are the statements that they had provided to the lawyer, and they sent that over to Katie like, hey, we're not condoning this, we're not saying this. But the funny thing about Kawan is that now he's stating this. He responded to the comments on that fan page, right? And he said, yeah, Gigi first grandkids, but again, we wasn't mentioned because they beat our ass. So now he's going back on what he's saying and saying, like, no, they were abusive. Y'all, this is crazy. This is crazy. And again, I think with a lot of the back and forth now that, they wrote that statement saying, hey, it never happened. And now you're going back saying like, well, they beat us. And this is where Deon and Gigi come from. Like, okay, well, now your mom is probably telling you to say this so then you can get some money from us. And again, I can't deny that's true or not. I do feel like there could be some truth, some jealousy that they weren't featured on the show and that, they're not mentioned at all. And they think that the Derricos are making a lot of money and they're not getting a piece of it. Oh, and they're able to talk about their father and they don't get anything from it. I do believe there's some jealousy. I'm not going to deny that. But there's something going on with this family, and some truths are not being told. There's a lot of missing pieces in this story. Now, again, when you go back and say, oh no, this is not true, and now you want to come back and say that it is true, it's hard for us to believe what's real and what's not. Do I believe that Deon and Gigi hold some kind of resentment against you because of your mom? Yes, I definitely believe that. Can I say that they, mistreated you or I don't know. I can't put a stamp on that. But I mean, from the conversation, and again, you guys can watch the whole live. I did post the whole thing, but I'm not going to play it for you guys right now. But from that live, I can tell like they have a certain disdain for you, and they're not sure if y'all actually related because y'all the wild bunch of the family. Like, oh, y'all don't act like us. We can't. Amani, basically, and that's the thing too. That's gonna piss them off even more. If you're using Amani as like, oh, well, see, he acts perfect. He acts just like us. He's so kind-hearted. You guys are evil, ratchet, ghetto. Like, we would never, like, that's not our family. That's not us. That's basically what Deon and Gigi were saying. Oh, we don't even know if y'all blood related, but you went to all 3 of the births? Listen, if there was any doubt, I would not go. I would not go if there was any doubt in my mind that that wasn't my relative or the baby mama had cheated or whatever and had multiple, like, I wouldn't even, man. This makes me look at the Derricos a totally different way. I'm sorry. Let me clarify, Deon and Gigi. It makes me look at them a different way. And I feel like we get in this state of where we can't question our elders. We can't say anything that they did wrong to us. But I feel like us being silent is only making it more traumatic and carrying on that burden that you have with family. You're literally walking around with that weight on your shoulders because you can't express yourself and you can't say what it is. Now, I'm not saying that they need to be disrespectful to Deon and Gigi, but they need to be able to voice their opinion. They need to be able to voice their opinion. And I also feel, okay, well, if y'all got all this doubt, like y'all don't know and all this stuff, well, get the blood test done. Get it done. I have a feeling that the reason why they didn't do the blood test and stuff like that is because they know. They know. You put up a picture of these kids, they look just like they dad. Let me go ahead and put it back up, you guys. Hold on. They look just like they dad. The nose and everything. The nose, the eyes. Yeah. It's wild though. I think I'm gonna try to reach out to Katie. So back in the day when I first started YouTube, me and Katie didn't get along so well, so I don't know if I'm still blocked. But I'm gonna try to reach out to her and let her know, like, hey, have you heard anything about this? Because, she basically was made to look like a liar, and now look what's going on. Again, I don't wish anything bad happened to Deon and Gigi. But this wasn't a good look. This was not a good look for them. Not a good look at all. Like, my thing is like, when you are airing out these people, right? These are the youngins. These are the people that you're supposed to protect. These are the people that you're supposed to look after. And you're literally shaming them, saying, oh, they're like their mother. They've been poisoned and brainwashed by their mother and all this other stuff. Okay, well, what about their father? Their father didn't brainwash them or anything. Like, y'all making it seem like it's just the mother who put doubt in them. There's something that they're not there. There's parts missing to this story. I still believe that. I think Katie should stay out of it. They did a DNA for the nephew that passed, so why not them? Yeah, Brown Mama. Yeah, I don't know. That's a good question. I would like to know that too. Why have they not done a DNA test for these kids? Do a DNA for them, get it over with. That way, you know. And this doesn't seem like something they're going to bring on the show. This does not seem like this is something that they're going to address on the show. He was even saying, like, you know, in that live, like, basically anything that happened 20 years ago, that's not what we talk about on the show. We talk about our life now. We don't talk about anything previously or anything like that. But I still find it weird because besides just these kids, just like I said earlier in the show, don't forget he adopted a son, Darren. He adopted a son, Darren, when he was like 11 years old, and they have a strained relationship. They don't talk or anything, and Darren wants a relationship with Deon, but Deon wants no parts. Are they back together? No. Well, they're working on it. That's what they said in the live. That, you know, him and Karen are trying to work it out. So we'll see what happens. They're supposed to be filming right now for the show. So they're still filming with the reality show and stuff like that. So hopefully, I mean, we get more of an insight. Like I said, I don't think that they should expose, you know, everything in their life, every dirty detail. But y'all pretending like everything's perfect and y'all just this big happy family with all these multiple children, and y'all got real drama going on and y'all not bringing that on the show. It ain't right. I can see this turning into Sister Wives. You know, that's another TLC show. Remember Sister Wives? Oh yeah, we're a poly family. You know, a whole bunch of wives, whole bunch of kids, and all that stuff. And look at them now. Cody is all divorced from his wives, except the main one, Robin, who was the newer wife. Yeah, show your life. Don't pretend like it's perfect. That's my best advice I can give. But make sure you guys go ahead and hit the like button. I appreciate y'all for being here. Let me know your thoughts in the chat on everything going on. I'm probably going to splice this one up because there's different parts of this that I want to make sure people actually watch and get. So I'm probably going to split this up to 3 different parts. But let me know what you guys think in the chat. I appreciate y'all. Thank you guys for all the prayers and the condolences yesterday. I greatly appreciate it. My family appreciate it. Just thank you, thank you, thank you. I love y'all, but we out of here. Deuces, everybody.
Kamala Harris, why is she in my DM? Huh? She stay in my DM. Oh, y'all be thinking I'm playing. I'm not playing. Kamala Harris. She in my DM, bitch.